Hi, my name is Kate and this is FabLab Fundamentals, and today we're going to talk about how to thread the sewing machine. So before you use the sewing machine, make sure you get this sewing machine logbook and you write your name, date, and what you're using the sewing machine for. Now once that's done, you're ready to use the sewing machine. So you're going to make sure that the sewing machine is plugged in and that the sewing machine is on. And you'll know that it's on because the light by the needle will be on. So once you know that it's on, we're going to re-thread this white thread into black thread. We're going to first take off this plastic cap. We're going to lift up this so that we can take out the white thread, and we're going to replace it with this black thread. So this black thread will go straight in. You're going to put the plastic cap back on it, and we're going to follow the numbers on the sewing machine. So it'll say 1, we're going to go to the 1, now it's 2, and then you're going to follow it down to 3, loop it on 4, and then you'll see this metal tab at 5. So in order to get that metal tab to pop up, we're going to go to this thing right here. We're going to turn it towards us until you see the metal tab pop out of the sewing machine. So now that it's out, we're going to loop it around this metal tab and then down to 6. And then the last step is to put the thread into the needle and then retry. Oh, there we go. So that now that it's in the needle, we're gonna push this thread under the presser foot. We're gonna let it run towards the back of the machine. Now we're gonna replace the bobbin right over here. In order to do that, we're gonna pull this tab right here so that this plastic piece comes off. We're gonna take this plastic piece out and we're gonna take out this bobbin. So with this bobbin, we're gonna replace it with the black one and we're gonna insert it back into the hole. Now we want to make sure that when you pull on the bobbin, it turns clockwise. So since this is turning counterclockwise, we're going to flip it and make sure it turns clockwise. And then we're going to thread it into this metal nib. And then we're going to pull it towards the back of the machine again. And then we're going to put back this plastic tab. So now that the sewing machine is ready, we're going to want to sew these two pieces of fabric together. And before we sew it together, we're going to pin them together to make sure that they don't move. And make sure that you don't poke yourself because the pins are pretty sharp. Okay, now that that's ready, we're going to start sewing. Now that we have these two pieces of fabric, we're going to put this underneath the presser foot. And we're going to make sure that the needle is flush with the fabric so that you're sewing the fabric on the right spot. And in order to lower this presser foot, we're going to go to this lever back here. We're going to push this down and that'll push the presser foot down. So now that it's flush with the fabric, we can start to sew. Now you can manually use the sewing machine by using this dial right over here, and you would do it by turning the dial towards you, and that will move the needle up and down. So you can use the sewing machine that way, or if you want to be quicker, there's a presser foot at the bottom and you would push this pedal in order to use the sewing machine. Now that we have this, I can talk about some of the stitches that we have. So these are the different stitches that are on the sewing machine. There's the straight stitch, zigzag stitch, and a bunch of other stitches, and this is for buttons. This dial is for the length of the stitch, and this dial is for the width, needle position, and tension. So using this, we're going to keep it on the straight stitch, and we're going to sew a straight line through this fabric. So we're going to press on the pedal and slowly move the fabric up so that you can sew a straight line through the fabric. And make sure that you take these pins out safely. And then you can sew a straight line. Now that it's over, make sure that your needle is above right here at the highest position, and you're gonna lift the presser foot back up and retrieve your fabric that you just sewed. Now using this, there's a cutter on the side and you can cut the thread right at the side. And that's how you make a simple stitch with the sewing machine. Thank you.